Alright, the XM-501. Getting back to part number 2. And I have just cut a 4-position fuse lug in half. Here's the other half. I'll just use a Dremel with a cutting bit, a cutting wheel, and just very carefully cut it. Nice and straight, looks good. I always buy these it's a 4-position. You can see it in there. And then I just cut them in half like that. This is part number, this is DigiKey part number 36-3539-ND, fuse block. Nice fuse blocks, I really like them. DigiKey. So I'm going to mount this guy like right here. Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my holes, and then I'm going to get the drill press out and drill 2 holes through this thing. And then I'm going to run my fuse wires up through here. Solder them on. And that's how I'm going to do the fuses for this thing. Let me go ahead and get to that, and then we can move on from the fuse problem. Okay, I have my holes marked in black here, and there's nothing on the bottom side that will interfere with anything. I'm going to drill these, and then I'm going to tap them. That might be too big of a drill. I want to be able to tap this. That is too big of a drill. That's way too big. Yeah. I'm going to tap it 6x32. So I actually need to remove this drill. It's way too big. This drill bit. Okay. This is probably more like it right here. Okay. Yeah, that would have been a mess. That drill bit was way too big. I want to tap it, like I said, I'm tapping this at 6x32. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and line this up where I want it. That's pretty good right there. Okay. Okay, that's the first hole, and now the second hole. Right there. Okay, that felt like it hit something. I think the bit broke too. No, it didn't hit anything. That worked. But I do believe that the bit broke. But whatever, I'm wearing my glasses, so always make sure that you wear safety glasses when you do this. No, that didn't break. My drill bit did not break. But anyway, make sure that you wear safety glasses when you're doing this. 100%. It's a must. Okay. Alright, there's our 2 holes. And I'm going to go ahead now and run a tap through those. It's 6x32 thread. You know what we're going to do is I'm going to put the tap in my drill and just slowly tap that. Okay, I have it in my drill, 6x32 tap. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this really quick. That one's tapped. Now we go down here. There you go. There's 2 6x32 holes. And now we'll just put our, put that thing in there. I'm going to come back a little bit. All right. Put this back in there. These are 6x32, 1/2 inch. Put this down there. And let's, oh, that sucks. I don't know, is that lined up right? Hopefully. Sorry, but I'm sorry if that was all out of focus. Yep, that clears. It's got a good 3 millimeters over that screw, so that is perfect. And those things thread down in there really good and tight. See, I can put that screwdriver right underneath there. Perfect. All right, be right back. Now I don't want these screws backing out, so I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to put a couple, I got a couple nylon nuts. I'm just going to thread onto here. Okay, just finger tighten them really good, and then I'm just going to put a little glue, nail glue, on the threads and at the joint of the thread and the nut. Pretty good little amount. Yeah, I need to get a new thing of that nail glue because that's about dried up and empty. I've had that thing for a few years, but that'll keep that from coming off. So that is awesome. Now I just got to run the wires up and solder them onto here. Solder them up onto this thing, and our fuse situation will be handled. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll come back once that's all done. Alright, I got the fuse wired in. I just added wire to the existing wires. I got the white with the blue trace going off to one fuse, and then I've got this gray going off to the other fuse. You can see this, they go down this grommet first, this blue and go in the gray, and then they come through here on the other side of the fuse. And here's the top side. We got the gray to the gray and the white and blue to the white and blue. Now that is our fuses. So now all I have to do, I think these are 2 amp. I'm going to verify. I believe they're 2 amp fuses. I'm going to recap this board, resolder it up, and this thing will be ready to throw in and test. Let's get to it. Okay, I have replaced the caps, and I've got the old caps out here. We're going to test them out. We're going to test ESR and capacitance. This one is 470 at 16 volts. Capacitance says 530. Well, it's not terrible, but it's a little high. And let's test the ESR. 0.24, 470 at 16 volts, 0.2, it's a little bit, just a touch high, but not really terrible. Okay, this one is 150 at 10 volts, 150 microfarad. And it is at 100 microfarads. Well, that's low, 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 low. ESR on this guy, 150, should be around, oh, I would say around 0.5 or something like that. 23 ohms. 22 ohms. This one's really bad. This is a bad cap. And this guy right here is 4.7. 4.7 at 100 volts. And it says 5 microfarad. Not bad. And I would imagine the ESR is going to be really good on this. 4.7 at 100 volts. It should be around between 2 and 3 ohms. And this is actually a perfectly good cap as far as that. We don't know about leakage across it. Now the rest of these are 47 at 50 volts. That one's reading about 56 microfarad. And this should be about 0.6 ohms would be good. And 0.4, that's absolutely fine. Now we don't know how these are with a load on them. They're probably all bad, but they read good without a load. Yeah, that one's 0.3, 0.2, that's fine. And I would imagine it'll be fine here. Yep. And the last one. Same thing, and probably the same thing, 0.3 probably. Yep, 0.3. Well, these all read good, but you get a load on them. Who knows? Best to replace them. But that one was definitely bad. Okay, I'll put my toys up and be right back. Alright, and I've got this guy recapped. I didn't clean it up, and I did a lot of resoldering on the back of this. I soldered all of these again and just went through and kind of spot soldered around. So this guy is good to go. And I was mistaken. There's really no difference at all in the chassis and stuff. I think the only difference between the XM-501 and the XM-701 is the tube size. is electronically it looks to be exactly identical. So yeah. Okay, well, I got to get the chassis back up here because I do want to remove all those 3 case transistors, test them, clean, re-grease, re-insulate, and put them back in. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, I've got the thing all hooked up. I removed and tested my transistors and they were all good. And I've got this thing turned on right now and I'm checking B+, and B+ is right at 73.5, solid. B+ voltage is perfect. Let's check our 30 volt supply. $34. Looks good. So our voltages are all good. Let's check for and I'm missing, there it is. Let's check and make sure our high voltage supply is working. Whoa. See that? See that glow? I heard something snap a little bit. We got a problem going on here? Uh-oh, something's smoking. Something's smoking. We still got B+, but something is smoking. So let's turn this thing off. It's coming from this board. So I'm going to remove everything and flip this thing over and turn it back on. Let me cut away for a minute, flip this thing over, see what's going on, see what's smoking. Alright, when we left off, I had this thing plugged in and I was getting some smoke and snap, crackle, and pop. And I've had it turned on for quite a bit now. And where is my schematic for this? I don't know. Let me, I'll find it. But I noticed, I'm going to put the camera on the tripod. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the thing turned on. The monitor is on. And what I had noticed was I actually put another deflection board because I wanted to find out, is it the deflection, the video board, deflection board, or is it the chassis? And I put another one of these video boards on here and it started popping the resistor on that one. Smoking it, you know, there's way too much current going through this big resistor. So I looked at the schematic and I knew it was on the chassis because it did it to 2 separate boards, same thing. So I found that resistor, the one that was smoking, and it's right here. Okay, R64 right there. It says it's a 10 ohm. And it's directly connected to the emitter of the vertical output transistor. Okay. The vertical output transistor right here. And there's our resistor, okay? Yeah. So, and if you can see on that vertical, it says 68 volts. When I measured that on the before, I was getting 33 volts. So I went ahead and I replaced the output transistor, that guy right here. That one right there. On the case with a 3716 2N3716. And now when I get on the case of that, just trust me, it says 68 volts now. 68 volts. So the other one, even though it tests good, is no good. So it must just not be opening up fully. And the current that's supposed to be passing through it is rushing to ground. And it was blowing up that, it was heating that resistor. So if this thing isn't turning on fully, then the current was going down to through the emitter or something, or it was leaking through the emitter from collector to emitter and going straight to ground or something. Something was faulty in that transistor, and I can't check it. I can't find it with my meter, which is strange. It tests absolutely fine, but yeah, replace it, and now it works. There's no more smoking of that resistor. The current's going through, all of the current that is supposed to be going through that output transistor is going to the vertical coil, the vertical transformer. So yeah, that was weird, because I tested it and it's fine. It tests good, but yeah, it's not good. So now we are all squared away. This thing should be good to go now. And you can see here, if we look at our flyback, we have a glowing neon bulb. Turn the light off. See it glowing? So even though it's silent as can be, we know we have high voltage. So let me turn this thing off and hook it up to a tube. And yeah, so hook it up to a tube. You know what I want to do is I'm just going to hook the yoke up and make sure that make sure it doesn't start smoking. You know, let's get the yoke in line with it. And I've got the yoke removed right now. As you can see, this is the yoke for an XM. I'm just going to plug in the yoke, set it aside. It is not turned on. Don't do this with it turned on. That would be bad. Green right here. You have to be really careful when you're messing around with monitor stuff. Don't ever do anything with it plugged in. Okay, and we're going to set this aside. The yoke, just set it down right there. So the yoke is now in play. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on and make sure that we don't have anything smoking. Okay, it is on. And let's check our transistor again. Still 69 volts, right where it should be. So I do believe it was just a bad transistor. A bad, good transistor. And it's funny, even though that resistor smoked and I heard it pop and smoke, it's still good. It didn't open up, which is weird. And yeah, I'm going to just kind of sit and chat with you for a second. I want to let this thing go for maybe another minute. It would start smoking quick. It did not take long. And I already know that it was that transistor, because you know there was such a voltage drop through that transistor, because it was dropping half the voltage before. When I measured it before, remember I said it was 33 volts. So it was yeah, it was really dropping that and going, all that current was flowing down through the emitter straight to ground and smoking that resistor. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. We're good to go. Turn it off. I'm going to unplug it for safety. And I'm going to hook this up to a tube and let's check out some Atari football. Alright, I was getting nothing, so I swapped deflection boards with the one that I know is good, that was on the one where the cap blew up. And I was getting the same thing, but then all of a sudden it came on. That flyback, we could be in for an absolutely catastrophic failure on that flyback. That would be kind of cool. But now it's lit up and it's working, but that flyback was making some crazy noises. It still is. What in the world's going on? Is that flyback going to explode? I don't know, but you know what I do want to do is I want to go ahead and put the I'm going to put the this one back in it, and hook the board up to it. It's acting really funny. I don't know. I wonder if that's a bad connection in that white cap right there. And what if it's a bad diode? I'm going to mess around a little bit, try some different things. Let's turn this thing off for now. But yeah, that could be, all of a sudden it just popped on. It wasn't doing anything, and then all of a sudden I heard that little weirdness in the flyback and it popped on. And I actually kind of think it's either the flyback or it might even be the connection in here. I don't know. Let's, I want to do a little swaparooski. I'm going to put this original board back in it. So I was just trying to see if that was at fault. No, it's in the high voltage. Something ain't quite right. So, I don't know. Let's figure it out. All right, I've got the Atari football on there. I got the original board back in it. And we got a little bit of a fold over issue or something like that going on. See all the little lines? It's like folded over. But it's kind of stabilized. I don't see that that flyback isn't making goofy noises anymore. I actually did put a different high voltage diode in it, and I don't know if that made a difference. Yeah, but you can see it like folds over. So that's definitely a video board problem. It's on that board. So you know what I kind of want to do is I want to swaparooski back in the known good one. Why not? Let's get this thing looking like it should. But I am going to fix that board. There's something wrong on that board. It's 100%. This is looking really good as far as stability. So yeah, I'm really happy with that, but we need to fix that board. But first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to just go ahead and throw that other one in there and check it out. All right, well, surprising to my surprise, with the other board on there, I get the exact same fold over. So what that is kind of telling me is the vertical output transistor that I am using is either got maybe too high of a current gain or something, and it's making the vertical just too big, and it's folding over. So I think what I'm going to do is take this guy right here out of this and put it into that and see what we get. Then I'll have to do a little research on what that transistor actually is. So yeah, let's look into that and do that. All right, we're hooked back up again, and that replacing that transistor did fix that fold over. So I was correct in assuming that this transistor, this is the 2N3716, it's just got too high of a gain or something. The characteristics are not right for this monitor. And now I do have, there's no fold over, but the screen does not go, it doesn't quite make it all the way. This is as big as I can, as tall as I can make it, which is usable. It's not bad. But you can see it's like that high voltage unit is not healthy. It comes and goes with this flakiness, with this like shimmies like that. That's that high voltage unit. So sometimes it snaps in and it's perfect. But yeah, that thing, I don't know. I'm just going to let it continue to go, and maybe it'll flame out spectacularly. Who knows? But I'm going to do some research on that transistor. And this is a 3716, which is a vector transistor. It's perfectly fine, so I'll just put it back in my stock. And I need to, because I got to replace that for that one, so I need to actually find out what this transistor is. Yeah. Another thing to consider with the size issue is, remember how on this monitor the video board, I call it, remember how the resistor got popped and smoked? That is right here. Remember, that was R64, which it says is a 10 ohm, and it looks like about a 3 watt resistor, 3 or 4 watt, 5 watt, something like that. 10 ohm. And then that goes down to vertical size. This could be not a 10 ohm resistor anymore after being smoked. It could be a 100 ohm resistor. It could be a 500 ohm resistor. I don't know. So that could be the whole issue right there. After taking some kind of damage, that could be my problem. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the problem. So yeah, I'll keep that in mind. I'll have to replace that guy. I guarantee you that's probably, well, boy, that doesn't make much sense. I guarantee it's probably that. But yeah, that's what I'm going to assume is the problem with this size, is that resistor being smoked a few times. It's probably damaged, a little bit open. It's probably not 10 ohms. So yeah, but that flyback really settled down. So who knows? All right, guys. Yeah, see, now it's completely settled down. There's no more high voltage flakiness. Yeah, that's just the flyback. Hopefully it works out its kinks and it just is stable. I can live with this, especially for my test monitor, you know. I can totally live with this. The picture's beautiful. It's crisp. You probably tone down the contrast a little bit. It needs a little adjusting, a little fine adjusting. But the picture's beautiful. So yeah. Yeah, I could totally live with this. But yeah, so I guess I'm going to call this good. This is the end of part 2. This is a fix. It's working. It's not perfect. It needs to be, maybe that transistor's a little bit weak that I put in it, and it's not giving it all that it needs to. Yeah, it's kind of strange. But yeah, all transistors are not the same. You know, the characteristics matter. And this one, obviously, this one just will not work in this. You'll get way too much output. So all right, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you on the next Classic Arcade Repair. Bye for now.